Welcome to a deep dive on the Certified Cloud Security Professional, CCSP. This audio is part of the Monday Certified feature from Bare Metal Cyber Magazine, created to help you navigate real-world certifications in calm, clear language. The goal here is to take CCSP out of the abstract and show you what it represents in practice, the kind of work it points toward, the way the exam thinks, and how it fits into a modern cloud security career. Whether you are early in your journey or already working with cloud every day, this walkthrough is meant to feel like a thoughtful conversation, not a hype reel. If this certification is on your study list, a free and complete audio course is available in the Bare Metal Cyber Academy at baremetalcyber.com, complete with a study guide and a second ebook featuring 1,000 flashcard questions. CCSP is designed for people who are already close to the cloud, even if they do not yet think of themselves as cloud security architects. It is a vendor-neutral certification that focuses on principles, patterns, and decisions that apply across AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, and hybrid environments. Instead of anchoring itself to one provider's product names, it leans into concepts that travel with you as your tools and employers change. For someone moving from platform fundamentals into deeper security responsibility, CCSP often becomes a stretch goal, the credential that signals you can see both the technology and the risk picture clearly. It helps to understand who CCSP is really for. Typical candidates include security engineers and analysts who find themselves reviewing cloud architectures, helping DevOps teams design controls, or responding to incidents in SaaS and infrastructure as a service environments. It can also be a strong fit for cloud engineers who already build and maintain workloads but want a more formal, security-focused layer on top of that experience. In consulting and advisory roles, CCSP tells clients that you can look across architecture, governance, and compliance, not just tune individual settings. Because of those expectations, CCSP is usually not the very first certification someone pursues. Many people build a foundation with general security certifications and at least one platform-specific cloud credential before they seriously target this one. You do not need to be a chief architect, but it helps to have seen real cloud projects, migrations, or incidents up close. That experience makes the exam's scenarios feel familiar instead of abstract, and it also means the credential will align more naturally with the responsibilities you are ready to take on. Behind CCSP is a name that carries weight with hiring managers, the same association that created widely recognized security certifications and maintains a large professional community. Their approach starts with job task analysis, which means they study what practitioners actually do before they design exam domains and learning objectives. For CCSP, that translates into content that spans architecture, data protection, platform security, application concerns, and legal or compliance issues. The exam is built to mirror the breadth of decisions that come with serious cloud security work. The organization also treats certification as the beginning of a relationship, not the end. Once you pass CCSP, you are expected to keep developing through continuing education credits and regular engagement with new material. That ongoing maintenance requirement may feel like a burden at first, but for employers, it sends a useful signal. It says that someone with CCSP is committing to stay current as cloud platforms, attacks, and best practices evolve, rather than freezing their knowledge at the moment they pass the exam. When you look at the exam itself, the most important thing to understand is that it is deeply scenario-driven. CCSP does not primarily ask you to recite definitions. Instead, it presents situations where a business wants to move or redesign a workload, respond to a new regulation, or address a discovered risk. Your task is to pick the response that best reduces risk while still respecting business constraints, shared responsibility boundaries, and practical trade-offs. This is much closer to the conversations that happen in real cloud projects than to a simple vocabulary quiz. The domains behind those scenarios cover cloud concepts and architecture, data security, platform and infrastructure protection, application and DevOps considerations, and a layer of legal and compliance thinking. In one question, you might be deciding how to classify and encrypt data as it moves between services. In another, you might choose which control most directly reduces exposure in a multi-tenant environment. Over and over, CCSP is asking whether you can apply security principles in messy, hybrid situations instead of just naming controls. A very common misconception is that CCSP is about memorizing cloud service names or compliance frameworks. If you prepare that way, you will quickly feel off balance in the exam room. The exam cares much more about patterns, how shared responsibility shifts between provider and customer, how architectural choices change the risk profile, and how legal or contractual terms affect what secure enough actually means. It rewards people who have trained themselves to pause, consider the scenario, and choose the answer that best addresses the root risk rather than the most technical-sounding option. Because of that, preparation for CCSP works best when you treat it as a series of phases instead of a single blur of reading and practice questions. You might start with foundations, making sure your understanding of basic cloud models, deployment patterns, and shared responsibility is solid. From there, you move into deliberate deep dives on each domain, using a good book or structured course as your backbone. After that, you shift into an application phase, where you take those concepts and walk through case studies or your own real-world experiences, asking what good would look like in each situation. Practice questions come after those phases, not before. When you start working through sample items, you are looking for two things. First, you want to recognize how the exam writers frame problems, which words signal that a risk or legal concern is central, which clues hint at a specific domain. Second, you want to surface your weak spots. Each missed or uncertain question is a chance to revisit a concept and understand why the credited answer is better aligned with shared responsibility, data protection, or business impact. This is where the full audio course in the Bare Metal Cyber Audio Academy can make a real difference, because you can replay tricky topics and scenario walkthroughs while commuting, walking, or at the gym, turning dead time into reinforcement. It also helps to design a realistic study schedule that fits around your life instead of fighting it. Many working professionals do well with a plan that sets aside smaller, consistent blocks of time across weeks rather than very long, sporadic marathons. You might reserve certain evenings for reading and note review, others for scenarios and whiteboard sketches, and 1 or 2 sessions a week for practice questions. As exam day gets closer, you can gradually shift from learning new material to refining what you already know, tightening up fuzzy areas, and practicing your timing. When you think about career impact, CCSP finds its value in roles where cloud is central and security has real weight in how systems are designed and operated. Job titles vary, but you will often see it associated with cloud security engineer, cloud security architect, senior security analyst aligned to cloud teams, and advisory roles that guide organizations through migrations and cloud governance decisions. In those seats, CCSP signals that you can understand both the technical and business implications of cloud choices, rather than focusing on only one side. Hiring managers tend to view CCSP as a strong differentiator once you are beyond the pure entry-level stage. Many candidates can show a platform certification or a basic security credential. Fewer can demonstrate a vendor-neutral, advanced understanding of cloud security that connects architecture, risk, compliance, and operations. When CCSP appears alongside platform-specific certifications, it often tells a reassuring story. This person can work inside a particular cloud provider, but they also understand broader principles that will survive the next migration or replatforming effort. In a longer learning path, CCSP usually sits after you have some mix of foundational security and cloud credentials, plus real-world experience. Earlier steps might include general security certifications and entry or mid-level cloud exams tied to a specific provider. After CCSP, people often branch toward governance and leadership, incident response and threat detection in cloud-native environments, or deeper architecture-focused roles. If your current work is still mostly on-premises, you may choose to focus elsewhere first and treat CCSP as a future move when your organization's roadmap leans more heavily into the cloud. Stepping back, the heart of CCSP is not buzzwords or memorized lists. It is a signal that you are prepared to think clearly about security in the kind of complex, hybrid, multi-cloud world where most organizations already live. If you are already touching cloud in your daily work and want to be seen as someone who can guide decisions rather than just respond to tickets, this certification can help move you into that space. With a thoughtful study plan, consistent practice, and the support of resources like the Bare Metal Cyber Audio Academy, CCSP becomes much more approachable. As you continue your journey, treat CCSP not as the final destination, but as a milestone in your growth as a cloud security professional. Use the preparation process to sharpen how you read scenarios, how you weigh trade-offs, and how you explain your decisions to others. Those habits will serve you just as much as the credential itself, and they will stay with you long after exam day.
Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.